Uh, let's try anyway. Reading the poem. The Municipal Gallery Revisited. Around me, the image of 30 years, an ambush. The first line is followed by what? Instead of period? Colon. Around me, the image of 30 years. So he is going to show the paintings, right? Show the, around me, the image of 30 years. The second line is must be a painting, right? An ambush, pilgrims at the waterside. An ambush, pilgrims at the waterside. Casement upon trial, half hidden by the bars. Guarded. So it must be another painting, right? Casement is a name, the name of a person, casement. Griffith staring in hysterical pride, another painting. Kevin O'Higgins' countenance that wears a gentle questioning look that cannot hide the soul, incapable of remorse and rest. Still another painting. And also a revolutionary soldier kneeling to be blessed. Well, how many paintings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 paintings. Stanza 2. An amateur archbishop with an upraised hand blessing the tricolor. This is not, I say, this is not the dead island of my youth, but an island the poets have imagined, terrible and gay. For a woman's portrait, certainly I stand. So this is another painting, a portrait, a woman's portrait, beautiful and gentle in her Venetian way. I met her all but 50 years ago for 20 minutes in some studio. So it's about a woman. Stanza 3. Heart smitten with emotion, I sink down, my heart recovering with covered eyes. Wherever I had looked, I looked upon my permanent or impermanent images. Colon, right? So it must be about Lady Gregory's son, Augusta Gregory's son. Her sister's son, Elaine, only begetter of all these. Only begetter. Pay attention to the spelling. Only. It's taken from Shakespeare. It's a dedication. It's taken from Shakespeare's dedication to his supporter, right? Only begetter of all these. Hazel Livery, another painter, famous painter, living and dying, the tale as though some ballad singer had sung it all. Stanza 4. Mancini's portrait of Augusta Gregory. Mancini is a painter, a very good painter. Portrait of Augusta Gregory, greatest since Rembrandt. The portrait painter, Rembrandt, is probably the greatest painter we have ever had, Rembrandt. Have you seen Rembrandt? You have to go to the Netherlands. According to John Singh, a great ebullient portrait, certainly, but where is the brush that could show anything of all that pride and that humility? Probably the speaker is complaining that the portrait is great, wonderful, but could you explain this? Could you explain? He couldn't express all this, right? Anything of all that pride and that humility. And I'm in despair. At that time, may bring approved patterns of women or men, but not that self-same excellence again. Stanza 5. My medieval niece lack health until they bend. My medieval legs, these lack health until they bend. But in that woman, in that household, where honor had lived so long, he's speaking of the Lady Gregory's house. All lacking found, childless I thought, my children may find here deep-rooted things, but never foresaw its end. And now that end has come, I have not wept. No fox can foul their lair, the badger swept. It's like Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare, we've just finished Venus and Adonis. Stanza 6, an image out of Spenser and the common tongue. As you know, Spenser is the greatest painter, the greatest poet. Right? Maybe he is the greatest poet in English literature. Milton, he is great, but Spenser is a medieval painter. Yeats was influenced by him. Right? An image out of Spenser and the common tongue. John Synge, I, and Augustus Gregory, three of us, thought all that we did, all that we said or sang, must come from contact with the soul. We finished the Aran Islands, John Synge, right? And also we read a play by John Synge, Riders to the Sea. Yeats thinks he's probably the greatest modern playwright, according to him, right? All that we did, all that we said or sang must come from contact with the soul. From that contact, everything entheus-like grew strong. Entheus. A mythological figure, right? Very strong man. We three alone in modern times have brought everything down to the soul test again. Dream of the noble and the beggar man. Actually, this is the poetics Yeats has aimed at, right? Dream of noble and the beggar man. Stanza 7. And here is John Synge himself, that wounded man, forgetting human words, a great deep face. You that would judge me, do not judge alone this book or that. Come to this hallowed place, meaning the gallery, this gallery, where my friends' portraits hang and look thereon. Island's history and their lineaments trace. Island history and trace island's history in their lineaments, depiction. Think where man's glory must begin and end, and say, my glory was, I had such friends. But finally, they are known because of him, right? Yeats had thought that he would be known because of them, but today we know them because of Yeats, right? So, this poem has a lot of facts in it, and I'd like to go through the commentary on the poem. Okay, the Municipal Gallery. This poem was begun in August and completed in early September 1937. It first appeared in a Speech and Two Poems, a book, right? Speech and Two Poems, published in 1937. Yeats referred to this poem about the Municipal Gallery of Modern Art, Parnell Square, Dublin. If you go there, you'll find a very interesting studio the studio had been in London, somewhere in London, and it had been pulled apart and brought them to Municipal Gallery and put them together. That's Francis Bacon's studio. Fantastic. If you look inside the studio, you see it's like all of the things look like a dump of garbage. Horrible. And there is a door, and on the door, the door was used as a palette. He mixed the paintings on it, and horrible. And on the floors, heaps of clippings, right? Clipped from magazines and so many things. Everything is in disorder. But I looked at those things for 20 minutes, and then suddenly it occurred to me that everything and it's in proper order. There is a universe in it. Proper, everything in it. And there is a movie, films about his interviews and how he worked and things like that. It's fantastic. If you go Municipal Gallery, you can be sure to look at the studio. It's located at Parnell Square, Dublin, formerly Charlemont House, the residence of the Earl of Charlemont. In his speech at the banquet of the Irish Academy of Letters on 17th August 1937. This is what Yeats said. For a long time, I had not visited the Municipal Gallery. I went there a week ago and was restored to many friends. I sat down after a few minutes, overwhelmed with emotion. There were pictures painted by men, now dead, who were once my intimate friends. There were the portraits of my fellow workers. There was the portrait of Lady Gregory by Mancini, which John Synge thought the greatest portrait since Rembrandt. There was John Synge himself. There too were portraits of our statesmen, the events of the last 30 years in fine pictures. A peasant ambush, the trial of Roger Casement, a pilgrimage to Loughborough, event after event. Ireland, not as she is displayed in guidebook or history, but Ireland seen because of the magnificent vitality of her painters and the glory of her passions. For the moment, I could think of nothing but that Ireland, that great pictured song. The next time I go, I shall stand once more in veneration before the work of the great Frenchman. It is said that an Indian ascetic, when he's taken a certain initiation on a mountain, Mount Kailasa, C.H.'s commentary, in Tibet, is visited by all the gods. In those rooms of Municipal Gallery, I saw Ireland in spiritual freedom, and the Corot, the Rodin, the Rousseaus were the visiting gods. Okay, you can see the impression paintings. The paintings by Corot, French painter, and also works by Rodin and by Rousseau, etc. This is what Yeats said. And the best introduction to the poem is Ireland ushers Yeats and the Municipal Gallery. Yeats wrote to Ellis, okay, I'll skip. There's a mention of an ambush, possibly Sean Kidding's The Man of the West. Sean Kidding, painter, Sean Kidding's The Man of the West. Pilgrims in St. Patrick's Purgatory by Sir John Lavery, another painter, Lavery. Casement of the Trial, Lavery's The Court of Criminal Appeal, the title of the painting, seen, okay, and Griffiths. The painting referred to is probably the portrait by Lavery, by the same painter. The gallery does not include one by Lily Williams. Arthur Griffin's a political leader at the United Irishmen in Champagne. He led the Irish plenipotentiaries in the negotiations leading to the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921. Kevin O'Higgin, painted by Levry. Oh, Levry. Okay, and lines 8 to 10, a revolutionary soldier kneeling tree blast. Abbot Archbishop with an upraised hand, brushing the tricolor. This is Levry's painting, blasting of the colors, the tricolors being the orange, white, green flag adopted by the Irish Free State after 1922. So the tricolor is at the time the national flag of Ireland, right? Free state. Terrible and Gay, the terrible beauty of Easter 1916. Okay, a woman's portrait. Orland Asler suggests that this may be a portrait of Lady Charles Beresford by the English painter John Singer Sargent. She was the wife of William de la Poer, Baron Beresford of Meatemney and Carpnor, County Waterford. Heart smitten, in a letter of 7th September 1937, Yeats wrote to James A. Hilly, I spoke of my renewed visit to the Municipal Gallery, where my friends' portraits, visit made possible, or any other, or at any rate easy, now that I could go by taxi. I spoke of my emotion in the gallery, where Modern Ireland is pictured. My heart recovering. Yeats was suffering from heart trouble at the time of his visit. He was suffering from heart ailment. 21, line 20, Augusta Gregory's son, Rob Gregory. She was killed in action. She was a pilot. The portrait of Gregory is by Charles Shannon, an English painter and lithographer, friend of Charles Ricketts and Yeats. Both Shannon and Ricketts, painter, sculptor, art critic, stage designer, and co-editor of The Dial, were described by Yeats in section 7 of 4 years. Okay. Line 22. Her sister's son, Hugh Lane. Actually, Hugh Lane offered to give all these collections, and there was some trouble. They couldn't build the gallery. And finally, I don't know the history, but finally they had the gallery and they showed their work there. Only Borgetta, the permanent images above may have been suggested by the eternity promised by the ever-living poet, Shakespeare, right? Mr. W.H., presumably regarded by H as a patron or encourager of art, in the dedication to Shakespeare's sonnets. Line 23, Hazel Levry, living and dying. She was John Levry's second wife, Hazel Levry, born in Chicago, who died in 1935. The living painting is entitled Hazel Levry at her easel, the dying, the unfinished. Okay. Mancini's portrait. The Italian artist Antonio Mancini painted the portrait of Lady Gregory, which is hung in the Municipal Gallery. This is a very beautiful painting. Mancini, good painter. And Rembrandt van Rijn, the famous Dutch painter and etcher. Line 33, My Medieval Niece. This may refer to Yeats's courtier-like manners. Right? When well, he was influenced by the courtly manners, right? Courtly love, right? A letter of 25th August 1934 to Mr. Shakespeare, Yeats's friend, Mr. Shakespeare, mentions the Swedish compliment that has pleased me better than any I have ever had. Okay, line 34. That woman in that household, Lady Gregory and Coolpaugh, and line 35, all lacking found. This stanza is several versions of the poem. Line 35 to 9 had an extra line included and ran differently. So Yeats revised these poems over and over again. Line 37. Never saw a sand, never foresaw a sand. This stanza is referring to the sexual element of Yeats. He was a childist, and he first visited Coolpaugh in 1896, and his first child was born in 1919. He did prophesy the end of the house in the last stanza of Coolpaugh, 1927. Actually, Coolpaugh, the house was demolished. Right? Usually, the house can't be maintained. You need a lot of money to keep it. So, if nobody lives there, it's very strange, right? If you leave a house, nobody, and it's being destroyed itself. I don't know why. We have to maintain it, so they have demolished it. No fox can foul. An image from Spencer, poet Spencer, referred to in Yeats's essay, Edmund Spencer, an essay by Yeats, published in 1902, in which Yeats remarks that Spencer's The Death of the Earl of Leicester, Spencer's title was Ruins of Time, is more than a conventional ode to a dead patron. He laments that unworthy man should be in the dead earth's place, compares them to the fox, an unclean feeder, hiding in the lair, the badgers wept, etc. The poem in question was included in Yeats's Poems of Spencer. He is now gone, and the whiles the foxes crept into the hole, the which the badgers wept. John Synge, I, and Lady Gregory. Yeats' view of the people and popular lore is put in autobiography, page 191, and in several essays, see, okay, Antiochus, son of Poseidon, earth, when attacked by Hercules, drew new strength from his mother whenever he touched the ground. Oh, very convenient, right? And 47, dream of the noble and the beggar man. In the introduction to Fighting the Waves, Yeats' essay, Yeats mentions Lady Gregory's habit of quoting from Aristotle. To think like a wise man, but express oneself like the common people. He also discussed in his introduction his own attempt to bring his blank verse as close to common speech as possible. So in Yeats' poetry, Yeats tries to use common people's speech, like William Wordsworth, right? He tries to use ordinary people's speech. In memory of Lady Major Lover Gregory is a poem by Yeats. The portrait is by Yeats' father, John Butler Yeats. John Butler Yeats was a painter, portrait painter, a very good one. That rooted man, meaning Synge, that rooted man. Yeats may be referring here to Synge's finding genius and his piece on Inishmaan and the Bruskets. The islands, I think. Inishmaan, Inishmore, Inishmaan, Inisher, right? A middle-sized island. So, there is so many facts included in the poem. Right? Okay. Why don't you read it? Let's divide the class into three, and why don't you have some discussion on this poem? Have you seen a poem like this? Right? So many people included in it, and still, it's very beautiful. By arranging all of them, poetically, right? He makes a beautiful poem. If you have never seen it, read it carefully and just have a discussion. What makes it the point, right? What makes the point? What's good in it? Try to find something good in it. And, okay, 5 people here, middle, and last group. Okay, let's begin. Well, you can have a look at paintings by the great painters. I'll show you the Mancini. Oh, first, Rembrandt. Do you know who Rembrandt is? Rembrandt, right? Self-portrait. He's the greatest portrait painter. Rembrandt, Dutch painter, printmaker. I'll show you a very interesting picture by okay, look at this. Slaughtered ox. Soutine is famous, right? Steen did this painting, and he was influenced by Rembrandt. And he was so poor, right? And one day he went to the butcher and would like to buy a chunk of and the owner thought he's so poor, and he gave a very big one, and he got angry. I don't want that. Give me that. And he wanted to paint it. Right? And he was a fine draftsman. So you can have a look at his prints, self-portraits. A lot of self-portraits. Van Gogh probably is the painter who did most portraits, self-portraits. And prints. He's hatching. And Mancini, right? Antonio Mancini. He was genius. Antonio Mancini. Italian painter. Was born in Rome, showed precocious ability as an artist. At the age of 12, he was admitted to the Institute of Fine Arts in Naples, where he studied under Domenico Morelli. He was a friend with Edgar Degas and Manet. And these are the paintings by Mancini. And actually, the painting of Lady Gregory is fine, very good, very good. And who else? Sean Kidding. Oh, John Lavery. He's a fine painter too. John Lavery. John Lavery. Hazel Lavery, his wife. And Hazel in rose and gray. Very beautiful, huh? These paintings are impressionistic. Lavery and John Singh Sargent, the American painter Sargent. Sargent. Sergeant. American, many sergeants, right? American. John Singer. Sergeant. John Singer, Sergeant. He's painting. Portrait of Madame X. Right? He was a great morning walk, 1888, impressionistic, right? And his watercolors great. His watercolors. Look at this. Great. Watercolor is very difficult to do. He is an accomplished watercolorist. And Rembrandt, John Sargent. Okay, by the way, you're not finished with discussion, but one student said, I agree with you. The poetry is abstract, a little difficult, a little hard to understand. It seems like describing the circumstances of the Irish literary revival. It tells the details of the revival and shows the great spirit of revolution soldiers in those years. I think so, right? And also, another student said, Yeats talks about a number of paintings in this poem, but it is clear that his purpose is not to elaborate on the painting. His aim is to care for the Irish independent theme of his life. The last stanza of this poem shows this point very clearly. Come to this hallowed place where my friends boldly sang and looked thereon, Ireland's history and their reunions trace. I think Hong Mei-jang, I think it's right. You picked, you touched on the key stanza. And I like this essay, Joshua, the first and second stanza particularly. The poem seems to be a very personal and nostalgic poem, written in Yeats's older years. It reflects on many different topics throughout the very short poem and makes many references contemporary for his generation. When reading the poem, one can easily tell the amount of raw emotion, emotion that Yeats poured into this poem. The most overarching theme in the poem is Yeats' thoughts and joy surrounding Ireland and what it had become, and what it had become within his lifetime. In regard to the major theme in the poem, Ireland, Yeats makes several contemporary references to major Irish figures in his lifetime. Okay, and Kevin O'Higgins and Arthur Griffiths and so on. The poem closes with Yeats discussing their friends, not his children. Okay, and think where man's glory must begin and end. Say my glory was I had such friend. This line definitely speaks volumes to the struggle he had throughout his life, trying to have a normal family, but failing for most of his life. He attached himself to his colleagues and friends rather than his family when thinking about his legacy, because he was not married yet. But later on he married, and he attaches a lot of importance to his family and offspring. Actually, I like this poem because it contains so much material in it, but I haven't seen any poem like this. This is a very short poem. It has so many facts, but he uses a lot of semicolons and things like that. So the more you read it, the more you come to like it. I like it, really. And I don't see any other poem like this. So it's a very good poem, I think. Okay, why don't you talk about what you have discussed? Okay, group one, what was your main point? What was your major interest? Long neck fry. What do you see? In each line, each stanza, there are two lines in italics. They are almost the same. Like a long-necked fry upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. In the second stanza, like a long-necked fry upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. Instead of his mind, following the context, her mind, right? And then in the third stanza, like a long-necked fry upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Because Michelangelo is a male, right? That civilization may not sink, its great battle lost. Far the door, tapped the pony to a distant post. Our master Caesar is in the tent where the maps are spread, his eyes fixed upon nothing. A hand under his head, like a long-legged fry upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. That the topless towers be burnt, and men recall the face, move most gently, if move you must, in this lonely place. She thinks, part woman, 3 parts child, that nobody looks. Her feet practice the tinker shuffle, picked up on the street. Like a long-legged fry upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. That girls at puberty may find the first Adam in their thought. Shut the door of the Pope's chapel. Keep those children out. There, on the scaffolding, reclines Michelangelo, with no more sound than the mice make. His hand moves to and fro, like a long-necked fry upon the stream. His mind moves upon silence. So in this poem, what is prominent? What is unique in this? Actually, what is being described? The moment, the silent moment, in which great decision is made by 3 different persons. And each person represents what? The kind of humanity, right? And in the first stanza, who is the most typical represented humanity? Who is the most represented man in history? General. Caesar. Caesar is a particular person in the history, in the world history, one of the greatest generals. At the same time, he is the general, universal general in history, right? And the poem is talking about Caesar himself only. I think Yeats universalizes the meaning here, right? Looking at the refrain, the repeated 2 lines, refrain, we can guess, right? Still, Caesar is the great Caesar we know in history, right? That civilization may not sink. Civilization, which civilization? The civilization history, right? A great nation, great Rome rose in the past and it fell. Another Rome will rise. the present-day Rome is, which country is the present-day Rome? United States, maybe. And before this, the UK, United Kingdom. Right? Maybe the next one, probably China proper. We don't know. Right? So, civilization rise and falls. Rise and falls, repeated, right? That civilization may not sink. It's a subordinate clause, right? Quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post. That's the main clause. The subordinate clause is so that civilization may not sink. As a result, so that the great battle may not be lost. So the poem begins with an order: quiet the dog and tether the pony, and without connector, conjunction and, it's divided by comma, right? Quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post, so that civilization may not sink, its great battle lost. Semicolon, right? Why? Because our master Caesar is in the tent, where the maps are spread, his eyes fixed upon nothing, his hand under his head. So it's like a thinker, like Lodeng's thinker, right? Thinking about the strategy, what strategy he is going to deploy in the war. A hand upon his head. And then the refrain. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Actually, silence can't be catched. This is abstract, silence. How can you catch silence? Sound. The sound is visualized by using the fly. Fly. Have you seen a long-necked fly? It's this fly, and it can walk on the surface of water, right? So, right. And second stanza, that the topless tower be burnt and man recall the face. Same structure, so that the topless towers be burnt, man recall the face, move most gently, if you must move, right? If you must move, inversion here, if move you must, in this lonely place. Who is she here? Helen, right? Because of our Trojan War broke out, right? So she thinks, what is she right now? She is about 15, 17, 18, less than that, right? Because part woman, one part woman, three part child. More woman, more child than a woman. So very young, right? Right. She thinks part woman, three part child. She thinks that nobody looks. Her feet practice a tinkle shuffle. Her feet. The poet doesn't say she practices a tinkle shuffle. Feet, head, crown represent king, things like that, right? Her feet practice a tinkle shuffle, picked up on the street. Like a lonely cry upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. And there are another person who is an artist, a great artist, that girls at puberty may find the first Adam in their thought. Shut the door of the Pope's chapel, keep those children out. There, on the scaffolding, reclines Michelangelo. There, Michelangelo reclines on the scaffolding. What is he doing? Painting on the ceiling. And do you know the episode, Michelangelo? There is the painting is huge, really big, right? And if you go to Rome, be sure to visit the chapel and look at the painting. Really huge. Can you believe that? Can you believe that the painting was done alone by one single painter? Probably no assistants at all. Actually, Michelangelo had planned to finish it with best Italian painters. He gathered all the great painters from all of the Italy, and there were great painters gathered there, and they began working together. One day, when they went to work, the doors were closed. What happened? Michelangelo inside the hall, but he didn't open the door. They thought, he's making a joke. And then they came back on the second day. He didn't open it. Third day, he didn't open it. Why? The paintings were horrible. They've done horrible paintings. And he decided to do it alone. He painted the whole painting alone. And after the painting, what happened? He walked like this. Like right? Great painter, right? He gave everything to the painting, right? So there on the scaffolding requires Michelangelo. With no more sound than the mice make, his hand moves to and fro. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. So in this poem there are only 3 stanzas, and three different personalities appear here, and they are particular persons, Caesar, Helen, Michelangelo, but actually they represent the whole humanity, right? Maybe you can discuss this poem among your group, and probably you can observe many other things in here, and let's talk about it together, okay? Okay. First group, second group, third group, right? Okay, fine. I think group 1 talked about 2 poems. Group 2 talked about 1 poem. Group 3 talked about 1 poem. And actually, 3 of you talked about different things. And I suggest you do an essay, another essay. You have discussed the poem and very short essay and 200 words. And that's homework.